types of features. Bearing in mind we're not sure what date they are. We've got circular features,
Yeah.
3 of them here, which we think that might be the result of burning in the field in the last 10-20 years. This circular feature here we picked up in 1999, and that seems to be related to either a ditch feature or to some geology as a result of glacial action. And then over here we've a feature we don't really understand, and that might be one of the anomalies we want to look at this autumn. At the bottom you can see this bright line here, which is a gas pipeline that was put in.
Not a Roman gas pipeline. No.
Afraid not. No.
So those red lines represent something.
They represent something. They represent a buried feature. Now some of those features that we've got on here may turn out to be geology, but a good number of them are likely to be archaeology. We know that there's a ditch feature in the top part of the field, which we excavated in 1999. And one of the things we want to do with the South Trafford Archaeology Group this autumn is to test some of these biggest features to see if they are archaeology. If this is archaeology, it has to predate the 18th century estate map, because the alignment of the fields is 45 degrees to the fields recorded on the estate map. So they must be earlier than that map evidence. The big question is, how much earlier?
Right.
They could be medieval, they could be Tudor enclosure, or they could be something much, much earlier.
And you can only find that out when you start digging down?
You can only find that out by digging, because geophysical survey just tells you there might be a feature dug into the natural subsoil. It doesn't tell you what date it is, doesn't even really tell you fully what those features are. So if we're very unlucky, these could be drains, but if we're extremely lucky, they're going to be ditches and trackways relating to an early settlement that goes with Jim's finds of Iron Age and Roman material.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed indeed.
So it must have been an exciting day in November 2001 when the digger appeared here.
Oh, certainly. We actually came back not just to look at the site, but to actually excavate over some of the features that had come up on the survey. So this was at long last the test that these exist beneath the ground.
It's purely, at the moment, an evaluation exercise. We want to see what is there, right? If in the process of digging anything we actually find something, I mean artefact-wise, leave it in the ground for the time being. Let Debbie or I see what it is and where it is. We can plan it in, and then it can be lifted. So what we're basically trying to do is find the archaeology and record it by drawing it and planning it in. So nothing's really going to be disturbed at this stage.
So what were your feelings when that digger pulled off the first sod?
Oh, absolutely wonderful. It just felt like we'd finally started to look properly for what was causing the artefacts to come out of the ground in such quantity. Now we opened up ditch 1 and immediately we could see some disturbance in the ground. We took the rest of the ditch out, and when we looked at the profile of the ditch, there was a definite ditch in the ground. Now at this point we weren't sure what it was, but it was later verified by the university and several other archaeologists we know as being a Roman military Punic ditch. Now this threw us out because we were originally looking for a Roman farmstead or a Roman house. Getting a definite change here now, it's going very clay, very stony.
Very good. This is orange pea gravel that you can see here. You can see it very bright, lots of gravel in it. And then you can see it sort of changes into something that's something more substantial, darker, more orangey brown.
Got more humus in it, and it's darker, it's more...
Yeah, totally different consistency, and that then looks to be like ditch fill, the very top layer of the ditch.
Yeah.
And as you travel your way along the ditch, you can again see bright orange coming up at the other end as well. So that's roughly the size of the ditch. It looks very, very encouraging, I should say that this is the ditch. This is the ditch that we found in '99, further up there, that this is the continuation of it.
Yeah.
Maybe slightly wider, but yes, impressed. I'm quite impressed for the moment.
Good. Trench 1 was opened and we located the Punic ditch. We then moved on to open Trench 2, Trench 3 and Trench 4 in the hope that we would find the turn to the Roman fortress.
I can see something there. There's a difference in the colour of the soil. What have we got?
Judging by the shape of this ditch, it's most probably a boundary ditch.
Right.
It's not deep enough to be a defensive ditch, so we're looking most probably at something to do with a farmstead.
And how old?
Again, judging by its shape, and I can only say roughly, it's very Romanesque in nature.
Oh, I thought you could just say a few hundred years.
No.
So this is
no,
a
no.
Roman ditch. And what would it have been used for?
Well, as I say, as a boundary to demarcate between two maybe farmsteads even, or fields.
But I noticed that this side here is much steeper
Yes.
than that side. Is there a reason?
Yes, there will be, yes. The reason for it being, if you can imagine that this is nice and sloping, so maybe animals could get into here quite easily, but they can't get back out again easily, so they're not going to escape out.
Ah, so it's got like two functions. It marks the boundary, but it stops your animals going to the next door neighbours.
That's right, yes.
Oh, it's quite obvious. You can see that's a gentle slope down there.
Yes.
And this would be quite steep. I mean, even I'd struggle.
That's
Is that,
right.
is that the bottom of the ditch down here?
More or less, yes.
No, I'd struggle getting out of
You
that.
would. You would.
So a sheep or something, or even a cow,
Yes, would have great difficulty.
is amazing.
Yeah.
So that runs in that direction and that direction, but we don't know how far.
No, that's right. We don't. We picked it up in '99 up there, and judging from this, it's going to carry on quite considerably. I think maybe 10, 20 metres.
Well, the first day in Trench 1 isn't bad.
That's really. I know. Very, very pleased.
Now this is Trench 2.
Yeah.
What are we looking at here?
From the survey that we did, and some and resistivity surveys that we did, there was a rectilinear feature showing up on the plots. Hopefully, with it being rectilinear, we were thinking, well, they may be building. As it stands at the moment, we can't see anything particularly building like this. There's obviously no stonework or anything like that. So what we're really looking for is foundation trenches.
Right.
If those appear, then we've got.
I mean, there seems to be an awful lot of stone here and little up there with the yellow sanders.
Yeah, exactly. The difference is in contexts, if we can call them that, across the trench, are quite substantial. Up in the top corner, there's a hard compacted clay-like layer,
Right.
and on the opposite side of it is a loose, soft sand, and then running down the middle to here is a layer of sand and pea gravel, until we come to this part here.
There's definitely a change, isn't there?
A change of larger mixed size stones.
But that could be geological, wouldn't it? Yeah.
That's the problem. It could be a geological feature where stones and boulders have been rolled down the hill by rain or water washed and collected in a form. The only problem with it was that, or the only thing about it was that it's formed in a rectilinear feature.
Right.
And nature
doesn't do that sort of thing.
Rectangles.
So how much further will you go down here?
Well, we'll go probably down about another 2 to 3 inches just to clear off.
Just using the trowels?
Just using trowels from top to
Big
bottom
job.
to get a nice level layer with no topsoil on it, so that we can actually see if there are any cut lines across where the trenches have been dug.
Best of luck. At least it's dry. It's not bad.
Topsoil's 51, 78.
I noticed that everything has to be drawn. Why is this?
Everything has to be recorded for the archaeological records. It has to be drawn,